Fanmio issues a response after Nate Diaz's lawsuit and claims that the ex-UFC fighter was paid 7 figures. TMZ Sports first reported that Diaz and his team sued Fanmio after they didn't get paid for his recent boxing match against Jorge Masvidal. Diaz claims fraud against Angle after guaranteeing a $10 million payday, which Diaz has not been paid. Fanmio and Angle are now reneging on their written and oral promises and guarantees to pay $9 million owing to Diaz because they claim they are going to lose money on the event. In a flurry of desperate calls to Diaz's representatives following the event, Angle despondently groveled that he was going to lose more money than he had anticipated on the event if he paid Diaz what he had promised, and that his wife might divorce him because of the financial losses. Angle went so far as to threaten that he might have to declare bankruptcy to avoid paying Diaz what he owed.
Hey, cuz. Heard you're having money problems.
No, you didn't.
Listen, I got the answer. You declare bankruptcy, all your problems go away.
After the news of Diaz's lawsuit went public, Fanmio issued a statement in response saying that they have paid Diaz over 7 figures. Angle also says that he looks forward to disputing the matter in court. Angle went on to say, Nate Diaz has filed a frivolous lawsuit against Fanmio, which claims that fraud and breach of contract were committed by Fanmio, yet neither has taken place. In fact, Diaz has already been paid 7 figures in connection with the fight. I look forward to resolving this dispute through the appropriate process, and I am confident that justice will prevail. Making salacious and defamatory statements to the media in order to harm my family and I only strengthened my resolve to ensure that the truth will triumph. I think my favorite part about this whole story is this part right here, and this response by Angle, who says he paid him, quote, 7 figures. Well, the contract says that you owed him $10 million, and 7 figures could be $1 million. So you might have paid him $1 million just to show up, but you owe him another $9 million in theory. So just saying that you paid him 7 figures and not being too descriptive about what you paid him only strengthens the case for Diaz. It's like, bro, just pay your bills, pay your fighters. If you're gonna get fighters under contract and promise them $10 million, then make sure you have $10 million to pay them. Kayla Harrison hits back at Julianna Peña's PED accusation saying, quote, the only shot in the ass people need around you is anti-nausea medication. UFC bantamweight contender Kayla Harrison didn't take too kindly to some of the allegations recently made by former champion Julianna Peña. A rivalry has long been brewing between Harrison and Peña even prior to Harrison's arrival on MMA's biggest stage this past April at UFC 300. On the milestone card, the 2-time Olympic gold medalist followed her 2 doses of championship success under the PFL banner with a long-awaited UFC debut. In one of the night's best performances, Harrison submitted ex-bantamweight queen Holly Holm. That result left many calling for the Ohio native to receive a quick shot at UFC gold, but she'll have to wait her turn while Peña attempts to dethrone Raquel Pennington. And the Venezuelan vixen was firm in insisting that she's more deserving than Harrison during the recent appearance on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, and she also made some bold claims about the UFC newcomer and her team.
There is this like weird, Kayla comes in, she has a great performance. There was some talk of like, just give her the title shot now.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
It's annoying. What did Dustin Poirier say the other day to like Michael Chandler when he was like saying like, who are you?
Yeah.
Not to say, who are you, Kayla? But
Sure.
just to say like, these girls been grinding in the UFC forever. You know what I mean? So it's almost like a respect thing. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, obviously Kayla's in the mix and she'll get her chance as well. It's just a matter of time at this point.
We didn't talk since prior to 300. And I know you've been asked about the Kayla win over Holly.
Yeah.
It sounds like you weren't too impressed.
I mean, look, I know that Holly is a legend and that she has done incredible things in the sport. I also know that she is in a different trajectory in her career. She's going a different way. And so I feel like, they were looking to tout up Kayla as, the next biggest thing since sliced bread, and they got that in that fight.
I thought she looked great.
Holly?
No, Kayla.
Kayla, yeah.
I mean, just the fact that she made 135 blew my mind.
Right,
I was worried about that.
I was worried about that too.
How do you think she looked on the scale?
Great, strong, yeah. Stay off the needle, bro.
What do you think she's on?
Maybe not now.
Right.
I mean, definitely in the past, absolutely. There's no question.
No question.
No question. I just already have the mindset that people are cheating. You know what I mean? That everyone's cheating.
Even on the women's side, because I feel like people think
Yeah,
it's less
especially
prevalent.
from ATT, 100% from ATT. And this goes back to the story that I've told you probably a million times. When Dan Lambert flew me out there and I went to train for a week after I won the Ultimate Fighter, they literally told me that all the girls are in the bathroom shooting each other in the ass with the steroids, you
Come
know?
on.
I swear to God. And the thing is that I was like, I don't believe this, I don't want to hear it. And the guy like taking me by the shoulders, like shaking me like, Julianna, I'm telling you, they all shoot each other on the ass in the bathroom. Like, he's telling me this. So I have always thought that about ATT, you know, and no one's ever gonna change my mind.
Harrison took to X, where she responded by saying, "I've been tested by USADA since I was 12 years old. You will find every excuse in the world not to fight me, and the only shot in the ass people need around you is an anti-nausea medication." Former interim UFC lightweight champion Dustin Poirier looks set to fight again, and there's a select few names he sees as suitable opponents. Retirement was among the most prominent talking points leading into Poirier's third shot at the undisputed throne last month at UFC 302. The Diamond hinted pre-fight that it could mark his farewell win or lose, and his Octagon interview in the aftermath of being submitted in the 5th and final round suggested it was the end of a memorable career. But in the week since, Poirier has had somewhat of a change of heart, revealing that he's actually leaning towards another appearance in the cage in an attempt to exit the sport on a win. And by the sounds of it, the Diamond has a small group of possible foes in mind.
And after the Islam fight, when I got back home, you know, Kenny, I thought like, maybe this is it. And then a few weeks went by, injuries started hurting less and less, you know, post-fight. And I was like, I got to do this again. I've never lost 2 in a row. I can't leave this sport on a loss. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, I want to be 100% in it if I'm going to do it again, because I don't want to disrespect the sport, or, you know, I honor this stuff I do. And I just want to do it right. But I just want to get my hand raised and leave on my terms with a win, man.
Yeah. Well, in terms of this one fight, you and I had a discussion recently, and I know you don't like when I put the shine on your TV work, but you did a great job, and your voice just carries so much weight no matter what's coming out of your mouth. But as we were talking off camera about one more fight, possible last hurrah or not, when we talk about opponents, there aren't like a ton of them that make a lot of fiscal and competitive sense. One name that I suggested was Nate Diaz, and I don't know if it's 75% majority, but I got a lot of the fan base coming at me or scoffing at the notion that Poirier versus Diaz in 2024 is competitive and that you're not like a 5-1 favorite to beat him. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
The thing with the Diaz is, you know, I'm in contact with the UFC behind the scenes about my next moves all the time. Like we talk, when do I want to fight again? How bad are my injuries? Things like that. And when I brought his name up, the last time I brought his name up, they didn't want to talk about him. They didn't want to do business. He's just, a lot of fans don't know, behind the scenes, he's such a struggle to deal with that I think they just don't want to do it anymore. But if it came around, if that was something that was a reality, I 100% would take the fight right now, sign a contract today. And Nate knows that because I've done it a few times, and he can say what he wants. Every time a fight has fell apart with me and him, it's been on his side. It's been him over negotiating. It's been him doing crazy shit behind the scenes, and it's fell apart. It's fell apart. I've accepted every fight I've ever been offered with Nate, and I would accept one right now.
Do you believe, and journalistically you're not supposed to ask yes or no questions, but do you believe that your next opponent will come out of this batch of names? Okay. Nate Diaz, okay. Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor, Alexander Volkanovski, Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway, Charles Oliveira, Colby Covington.
100%.
I mean, I can't fucking come up with anybody else.
Those are some big ass names, man. You're in a good position there, Dustin.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. If I do fight again, and when I do fight again, it'll be definitely one of those guys you just said.
And, you know, I think Covington's probably too much noise. You're looking for reliability, somebody to show up on the date with all due respect, and maybe the preamble with that would be less than desirable.
It's rare that a week goes by where Sean Strickland isn't starting up a new beef with someone via social media. Whether he's trading words with someone online or causing controversy by sparring someone that's not skilled enough to be in there with him, the former UFC middleweight champion is always producing talking points. His latest public feud has been with public speaker and athlete David Goggins due to the comments that Strickland made about Goggins' military career. Goggins went as far as to challenge the 185-pound contender to 3 days of spending a training camp with him in exchange for 3 sparring rounds rounds in boxing. One fellow member of the roster is tired of Strickland's antics and believes that he's only doing this to make himself heard, since he isn't the champion anymore.
This guy's ready to go. It's looking like you can challenge David Goggins to some sort of race. Speaking of David Goggins, what do you make of the beef he has with Sean Strickland online right now?
I mean, I wouldn't call it a beef. Like, that's what Sean is, right? He's a troll. He's like, nobody cares what he says anymore because he doesn't have the belt anymore. So now he's just starting to attack all these other guys, these other people with bigger followings and things like that, just to get attention. I knew what he was from the beginning. He's fake. He's not this tough guy that he says he is, or this crazy guy that he says he is. He's just doing stuff for clout. And I mean, if he's a man, you challenge David Goggins. Do David Goggins' workout. Let's see if you push through. Let's see how big your heart is.
Alex Pereira's UFC run has been unlike anything else that fans have ever seen in the promotion. But the exciting thing is that he could take it up another level if he wanted to. Poatan has already achieved great success at both middleweight and light heavyweight, but there is the potential for him to try and become a world champion in 3 different weight classes. Pereira seemingly has the frame and power to make the jump to heavyweight, which would only add even more excitement to his octagon appearances. The light heavyweight champion is already a huge star, and while heavyweight could boost his stock even more, it's not something that he has on his mind right now. Pereira recently stated that he doesn't plan to move to heavyweight anytime soon, but if he did, he would want to fight John Jones rather than Tom Aspinall. Despite many feeling like Aspinall's next title defense at UFC 304 is essentially him defending the undisputed title rather than the interim, Poatan knows that he doesn't have many years left in his career, so if he was going to move up, it would be to fight for the undisputed world championship and nothing else. Michael Bisping gave his thoughts on this during a recent YouTube video where he sided with Pereira. The former UFC middleweight champion understood where the former kickboxer was coming from when he stated that despite having a lot of respect for Aspinall, this fight wouldn't make a lot of sense for him right now.
And as much as I'm a fan of Tom Aspinall, I've got to agree with Alex Pereira here. He's a 2-weight division champion. The man is the talk of the town, the belle of the ball, and outside of Conor McGregor, the biggest star in combat sports right now. Maybe even bigger than John Jones right now. He's certainly on the tip of everybody's tongues, okay? He's the man that everybody wants to fight, but he's saying, I don't want to fight Tom Aspinall. And that's not because he's scared, okay? It's not because he says stylistically it might be a bad matchup for me. He's saying no. He said it doesn't make sense. If I was going to fight, I'd want to fight the undisputed champ. I wouldn't want to fight the interim champion. And I do kind of get that. He also went on to say, though, and this is the part that really impressed me, he said, I have got to focus on my category. That's the important part here. A lot of fighters, when they become the champion, of course, they want to step up to the next weight class and challenge the champion there because, well, there's many reasons. Number one, you get the whole world saying, wow, this guy's a badass, okay? He's not scared of anybody. He's willing to step up to the next weight class and take on the champion. Wow, unbelievable. Of course, also, then the UFC can promote it as a champion versus champion. That makes it a super fight. That means the media is going to be involved. The fans are going to be excited. Pay-per-view sales are going to be through the roof and they're going to make tons of dough. All the way to the bank, chickadee chang. And then on top of that, if they lose, they've lost nothing. They have gained the respect of the fight community for being a quote-unquote badass, and they're still the champion in their respective division. So as I say, for champs, it's an obvious thing to try and do, step up to the next weight class, become a 2-weight division champion, look like a badass, make tons of dough, and potentially join a very exclusive club.
Now let's take a look at the top 3 comments left on yesterday's video. This person says, it all comes down probably on how you ask stuff. If you walk in like the king of the Mamba with John Jones, that clearly has a chip on his shoulder. For better or worse, he will become agitated and F you up. This person writes, DC, lay off the beer, brother. You got that pirate one eye going on slurring. And at Elias Maverick says, I'm just here for the booty. I don't care about Conor's 6th return or John Jones committing more crimes. If you want your comments highlighted on tomorrow's video, simply comment down below. We'll highlight the top best comments, good, bad, or indifferent, and feature them in tomorrow's video. And that does it for today's video, but make sure you're liking this video, subscribing to this channel, and clicking the bell notification so you can get notified every time we drop a new video. And in case you missed it, check out yesterday's news.